Hello everyone, here we are at my repair shop at Aeolian Strings, and we're going to set up a triangle clip so that it makes the triangle sound good and so that the triangle doesn't spin around too much while we're trying to play it. So we've got a standard hardware clip here, and we're going to need to drill some holes and set it up a little bit better than this. This is a pretty common scenario that you'll see in instrumental music programs where people try to come up with some kind of a solution using something to be able to hang the triangle. And this one isn't actually that bad. It's a hair elastic, so you hang the triangle on it. The triangle does spin a little bit too much when you try to play it, and also the hair elastic is really thick, so it's going to dampen the triangle. So we're going to cut that off, and we're going to drill a couple of holes and put in some good material so that it sounds really good. So these are the supplies and tools that we're going to need for this. You're going to need some kind of cord. I decided to go with natural hemp cord. It's super durable. You can't rip it no matter how hard you try. And it's natural, au naturel. And the packaging looks like that, but I'm sure you can find another version. And we're going to need a metal drill bit that's thick enough. It's thicker than the cord so that the cord will be able to go through our holes no problem. We've got the triangle clip we need to fix up. We've got a Sharpie. We have a file. This is a very small metal file that's actually normally used to sharpen a chainsaw, and they're only about $2 or $3 to pick up. Scissors and or side cutters and a measuring tape, and then you'll either want a drill and a vise or a drill press, and we're going to show you how to operate with both of those tools in case you don't have a drill press and all you have is a drill and a vise. So that's what we're going to need for this. So first, let's start with what we want our clip to end up like in the end. So I have two nice triangle clips here. This is a super nice one, and you can see that it actually has a rubber washer installed in the hole in order to just insulate the hole a little bit. And it has two cords so that if one of them breaks, then there's a backup cord. And then this is another one. This is made by an American manufacturer named Danmar. It only has one cord. You can see there's about the same amount of distance from one end of the cords to the other. With both of these clips, and essentially when I hang the triangle, very little surface area of the rope is in contact with very little surface area of the triangle, so the triangle sounds really good, and also it doesn't spin very much, so it's not going to spin around and around. It's not going to spin out of control when we're playing it, and it moves around on us a little bit. So that's the goal that we're going to try to make with this clip here. Alright, so what we're going to do for this, since I happen to have a clip here that works perfectly well, is we're going to figure out what the holes are in that clip in terms of the distance from the end of the handle to the first hole and the distance between the first hole and the second hole. And we can do this with inches or centimeters. So we've got 2.5 centimeters from the end of the handle to the first hole, and then another 2.5 centimeters to the second hole. And if you would prefer to use inches, that's fine. So it's an inch, roughly an inch from the end of the handle to the first hole, and then another inch from the first hole to the second hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this clip here and we're going to put it in a vise just to hold it in place. And we're going to take the measuring tape and a Sharpie, and we're going to mark 1 inch. Perhaps it's better if you have a Sharpie that works. We're going to mark 1 inch, and then we're going to mark 2 inches. That looks relatively centered. It's more important that when you drill you get the right amount this way in terms of where you're putting your mark. So if you put your mark off to the side, that's fine. Just try to drill into the center when you do drill. Alright, so as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to show you how to drill a hole into the clip with either a drill and a vise or with a drill press. So first we're going to use a drill and a vise. So we're going to put the clip into the vise and secure it like that so that it's going to be holding nice and still for us while we drill into it. You can see that various parts of the clip are thicker than various other parts, so we're going to get that out of there and make sure that the vise is holding it firmly in place for us. and that's not going anywhere. So now I've got my drill, and I've got the drill bit that we talked about that's maybe about twice as thick as the cord we're going to put through. So I'm going to install the drill bit in the drill, and then I'm going to put the drill on high gear, so it's going nice and fast. And what's important is that when I drill through, I don't drill too fast, because if I push too hard and drill too fast, then I'm going to push a lot of the metal out on the other side. We're going to have to file that metal from the other side anyway. We're going to have to file a little bit of it, but the slower we drill through, the less of that ugly sharp metal it's going to bend out and end up sticking out on the other side. So we're just aiming for one of our holes here, and we're going to start drilling. And we've got our first hole. Alright, so now we have to drill our second hole, and we're going to use a drill press for that, which is a nicer tool to use if you happen to have access to one. So we're just going to loosen our chuck and install the bit, and then we'll grab our key to tighten the bit into place. And I'm just going to hold the clip with my hand. If you prefer, for safety's sake, you can use some gloves for this, but I'm just going to hold it with my hand. You can see I've set the platform such that the bit is going to be able to go down just low enough for me to be able to meet my target. So I'm going to turn it on and start drilling. Nice and slow, nice and patient. And there's our second hole. Alright, so you might not be able to see the sharp little bits of metal in here with the camera, but there are little bits of metal that are sticking out. So we're just going to use our file and sort of dig away at it a little bit. And my file is just the right size to fit through the hole. So I've already gotten rid of most of it for that one, and now I'm just going to, file away at this hole here and spin it around, twist it around, and just dig away at it until there aren't any sharp pieces of metal left that are actually going to end up cutting our cord once we put our cord through there to hold the triangle in place. Alright, and so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut ourselves a couple of pieces of cord, so we'll cut them a little on the unnecessarily long side. We're going to end up wasting a little bit of it, but that's just kind of the reality when you're trying to work like this. So we're going to put one end through one hole and grab a hold of it from the other side, just here. It's a finicky business, this triangle clip work. You can kind of try to weave it, stick it through like that, and then we'll put our other end through like that. Now we've got this, we've got the cord through, and that's about how much slack we're going to want. You'll remember when we looked at that other clip that's already done, that's about how much slack we had. So now we're going to tie one knot, just a standard knot, the way you would begin the process of tying your shoelaces, like that. And there we go. Tie it a little bit tighter, and then once we've got it in place, and it's about the right length, like that, we're going to tie one more knot, just like the first one. Snug it right up against the first knot. And now I've got a nice tight cord. My triangle is going to hang from that. It's hanging exactly the right amount of space from there, so it's not going to actually run into the clip. Even if it spins around a little bit, it's not going to run into the clip, so you're not going to have metal on metal. You're not going to get an ugly buzzing sound out of that. And we are going to tie one more string, just like that. So we're going to cut ourselves another little length, similar to the first length. And of course it's even more finicky. You can actually wet it with your mouth a little bit if you want to stick it through, but we got that one through, so it's fine. And we're going to stick the other one through the other hole. And we've got it up there. And once again, you can measure up, so we've got roughly the same amount of slack with the first one as we have with the second one. And then we're going to tie our standard knot like that. Make sure that the amount of slack is still looking good. And then we're going to tie another standard knot just like the first one. Double check that our slack is looking good. And then we'll make the knot nice and tight. And now we've got 2 cords. That way, if one of them breaks while you're playing, then the other one will keep it in place. Because of course, if a cord does break, it's going to happen during the most quiet and peaceful and serene moment of the concert. And the stage is going to be made out of hardwood. It's going to make the worst noise imaginable. So now I've got all 4 of my slacks here, and I'm just going to cut them so I don't have a whole bunch of unnecessary string hanging out. And I've got my 2 wires just like that. And then, if you're doing this for somebody else, and incidentally I am doing this work for somebody else because the clip came in with that blue hair elastic on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a nice long length of extra, just to be nice to them, and I'm going to wind it up, and then I'm going to grab a piece of tape, and I'm going to wrap the tape around the cord, like that, and then I'm going to tape the extra cord to the triangle clip when I give it to them, so that they have some extra to work with in case something happens and one of them breaks and they want to tie another one. They've got some extra. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.